Hi, Moatoh here. This is part 2 of 2 parts on bass grooves and then fills. We did the grooves last time and I will run through them very quickly this time, but mostly it's about how to fill those spaces that you can leave. All music, I'm sure all music is made up of musical figures, and then you string them together. In fact, professional lead guys say that 70% of the time they're reusing stuff they've learned for years, and then they add just a little bit of new creativity. So that's the important part for today. I want to show you how to fill the spaces. So right now I'm going to play the 2 grooves you learned, the fabulous Vail Johnson groove. This is being played at 105 on the clock, and then the Moatoh groove, and that's being played I think around 85. And that's because when you listen to them, the Vail Johnson groove is a boom, boom, boom. It's a walking groove or a stomping groove, and the Moatoh groove is all 16ths, so it's just straight ahead breakneck speed. And it really makes a difference as far as the fills you put in, because you want to be as appropriate as you can to the rhythm and the type of groove. So let's run through them both right now, and then when you come back we'll start talking about ways to fill them. There are 4 good ways to make a nice fill. One is to lift somebody else's work. The next thing is to adapt that work so it's more your own and you've done something unusual. The third way is to find the music from an obscure source, either from another instrument, which I'll show you, or from a place where nobody's ever been, and even adapt it if you want. And then the fourth thing is to create your own. Now I'm stealing from Mark King for this one. It's a 4-measure groove. It comes from the beginning to Mr. Pink. I've actually done a piece on this, so if you want to hear what it runs like in the full piece, okay, but this is what I'm going to do now. It's just the 4-measure. And that takes up half of the Moatoh groove, because that's the one that's running fast. Now, you could make that into 2 halves if you wanted to. I don't think it breaks very nicely, but so that's a 2-measure fill, the first half of that thing. And I don't know, as I say, I don't think I'd do it. And then the second thing is you can do another 2-measure on this. Sorry? So that's the first way. Now, for a 2-measure, also from Mark King, also from that piece that I did showing you how to do it, at the end, he does this. And that is just a 2-measure, and you can fill the Moatoh piece with that easily. And here's a way to modify it so it's more your own. And that would fit beautifully too. Let's fool around a little bit with Marcus Miller's Run for Cover now. There's quite a bit in the first 8 measures, plus I think I've created a couple of little pieces, so we'll run through them all and I'll explain. His opening few notes. And you can change it to that just to get into the groove. Now, okay, a couple of those things are mine. I just like it, feels good. This is well known, of course. The sexlet is what it is. And then the last part, I learned it from Doc Watson playing bluegrass guitar, and it's just a quick run up the neck. So those are all pieces you can take out and put somewhere else. And that's the key to this. The other one I left out is, might as well do that too. Next up, we're going to lift from an obscure source. So this is going to sound fresh to anybody. You're the one who knows, of course. there's where it comes from. Alexis Sklarevsky's fabulous slap bass course. Now the next one is my prize. This is Mark Knopfler, Dire Straits, Callin' Elvis. And in the middle of that piece on guitar, he rips off a 2-octave pentatonic run from top to bottom. I'm going to show it to you. I've changed it into the key of E. You run out of strings on a bass, and so there is one jump, and I don't know how to do it. It's either a 4-measure run with the jump, or it's 2 2s. And either way, once again, it fits the Moatoh groove beautifully. And here are the notes, starting in, there's the E, starting on the flat third. First half. And we get back into the Moatoh groove. That's a big reach for me, that first part. So I've tried to make something else. This is an adaptation. At first it was a lift, now we're going to turn it into an adaptation. So I'll try to show you this. That's the first measure. The second one is exactly the same. So it's a beauty, and it fits in as a 2-measure or a 4-measure depending on your piece. One more example of what I think is pure creativity. I believe you have at least a dozen creative fills in you. All you want to do is bring them out. Jam tracks really help. So I was fooling around with a jam track one day, and this is what I ended up with in one beat, right? So I'll just show you quickly in time the kind of thing I came up with. Remember as well what you can do with tone, effects, and technique as far as fills go, and I want to give you some examples of that. For example, when Vail Johnson does his first fill on the groove you've got, he does this. Well, why not do this? If you got the effects. Now the next thing I want to show you is pinch harmonics, which are really easy on a bass because of the mass of those strings. And I just want to get the right effect here. So you could, in the context of this, just go up the string, get a higher one every time. Let them fade out as time goes on. So that's another possibility. Now, if the director will hit the delay button, I'll show you that as well. And this is just an effect you can get out of just about anything. Why not, right? That is it. Thanks a lot for joining me. The creativity is there. All you want to do is bring it out. So here's one way. Send me an email, moatoh@rogers.com, and I will send you 2 separate MP3s with both of the grooves we've been talking about. We'll run through each one a couple of times. You can loop it once you get the MP3, and the spaces will be left. Either a 2-measure space or a 4-measure space, which is a whole half of the groove. So I hope they help you, and I'm really glad you've joined me. Please subscribe if you like this. I've got a lot more coming. Thanks a lot. So long.